Today's video is all about getting a proper bike fit and making sure that I'm riding it as effectively as I possibly can do. I'm kind of excited. Well, I'm going to head down to Craig down at Scuderia because he's going to look at my position on the BMC because I haven't had it set up since I bought it. Now, I've had it a couple of years and thanks to COVID, we've not really been able to do any kind of bike setups. I just took the measurements off my Giant. Now, it's kind of feels okay, but I know that there's some adjustments to make and I want a professional eye to look at it. Just thinking as I was driving down to Scuderia, you might be thinking, why am I getting a bike fit now? Why not wait until the spring? Well, here's the thing, I'm going to be sitting on the BMC for my training on a turbo for most of the winter. So because that's stationary, then you'll really want to make sure that your setup on the bike is as optimal as possible. So I'm not causing myself any injury and I'm putting out decent power and building the muscles in the way that I want to. So it just kind of makes sense to get it done now rather than wait until the spring. So basically what we're doing here is we're just taking lots of different measurements. I don't actually have to get on the bike and Craig has to measure me. He's just basically taking straightforward measurements.
Yeah, so the straightforward measurements will give us a sort of a baseline position. And then at the progressive from there, we can then see someone sat on the bike and pedaling away and work out where everything sort of maybe make minuscule changes or in some cases big changes if someone's got particular imbalances. We use the laser. So you see the laser on the wall? So that's the laser I'm going to use on your bike. Basically, all this does is, when I was doing it previously with the ruler, fundamentally I'm going to be getting the same results, but I can do, this just means I can do it with a lot more accuracy.
Yeah.
Because I haven't got to do that all the time. You know, if I measure it with a ruler and you need a 71 seat height, and it's at 73 at the minute, so right, I've got to put the saddle down. If I only move it down 10 mil, I've got to measure it again. Oh, I've only put it at 72. So this, I can plot coordinates on this. So we've got the centre point. The laser now is slap bang in the middle of there, in the middle of your cranks, which is 0 on the x-axis, 0 on the y-axis, which is what we're talking about here. So as I move this backwards and forwards, your x-axis is going to go up and down. And then as I move it up and down, your y-axis will change.
Okay.
So we'll just plot your existing position. And then when we, as I say, once we've taken the measurements and the Shimano and bikefitting.com have used their algorithms to spit out position, we've got a marker just to work against.
All right.
So we know where you've gone and what we've done.
So what Craig's going to do now is measure my shoulders to make sure that the
That's right, yeah.
handlebars and the reach are right?
Yeah, well, less the reach, because that's something a bit later on, but the width of the handlebars, effectively, if bars are too wide, you've got that going on.
Yeah.
Do this bit just here, so just relax with your arms across in front of you, that's it, and then I'm just going to have a prod and just make sure I'm measuring from the right markers. Yeah, so that's fine. And then I'm just going to pop these on there.
This little bit of torture equipment has basically it's figured out my inseam.
Yeah, so it's giving you your overall height, your torso height or length, and your inseam measurement.
So as you were saying, we figured out this bit of bike, and now we're going to figure out this bit.
That's it. So the seat height obviously comes from inseam, etc. But now the reach, we've started to work out with the torso, but because you don't reach for the handlebars with your chest, effectively, you're reaching with your hands. So stem length is now going to sort of effectively be worked out because we're going to start taking arm measurements and ape index, etc.
This machine lists all the shoes.
Yeah, so I've got all the brands here, Adidas, AGU, Answer, blah, 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 Cannondale, Bontrager. Now for yours, we're on Shimano's, so we go to the Shimano shoe. And then what model of shoe is it? So it's a sphere.
Yeah.
So this is all the Shimano shoes listed here. And the reason we're doing all of this is because of the sole thickness will affect the seat height ever so slightly. So if you've got something with a monstrous stack height, say a thickness of sole,
Yeah.
Compared to some in Posh, which is down to potentially, well, I mean, I talk about a city, say, because we were doing a city the other day and it was a 6.8 mil stack. It's, you know, it's going to affect your seat height.
Yeah, it is.
And then the next one after the shoes is excavated pedals, which again have different heights to them, which again has an effect on the seat height.
Okay. So what we've got is the right measurements for where I should be on the bike and the bike where it is currently at the moment. So the measurements that we kind of rudimentarily put in from the Giant, and this will just figure out whether it is actually the right.
Yeah, we'll see how close or how far away you are now.
Yeah, interesting. And the idea behind this is to get some measurements to work off statically.
Yeah.
And then after that, maybe tweak it dynamically.
Yeah. So if someone's got particularly, you know, and in some cases, someone's got epically different leg lengths. So you can start to throw in leg length shims and things like that. But that's a you know a more involved process again.
So that's bike fit done. I'm leaving the bike with Craig so he can move the bike into the new measurements, and then he's going to look at me dynamically on the bike setup kit and just make sure that we are in the right position and it's what we think it should be. It's basically a little check. And I've left the bike with Craig because he's going to give it a massive service because it needs it. It's done a lot of miles this year. I've done close to 8,000 miles on that bike this year. It's been a good afternoon. I'm kind of excited because the next time I take the bike away is to Gran Canaria. So the new position will be really interesting to see how I climb and what it feels like riding it over distance. Right, so better get home. Got some program writing to do. If you've liked this video and you've been following some of the videos and you haven't hit subscribe or like to any of my videos, hit subscribe, hit like, and I'll be back next week.